The new CBS series Person of Interest is a crime drama with a twist. Jim Caviezel and Michael Emerson play a couple of good guys who stop robbers and killers before they commit their crimes. Turns out their ability to predict crime in advance is not as far-fetched as you might think. CBS News correspondent Bill Whitaker explains.
911, what's the address of your emergency?
From petty crimes to acts of terror, technology has captured it all. London was the first to mount surveillance cameras in public places. 1 million high-tech eyes, a so-called ring of steel. There are 3 million in China, an uncountable number in the U.S. But here at the LAPD's crime center, technology has reached a whole new level. With the same mathematical formula used to predict aftershocks from earthquakes, police are using computers, math, and maps to try to predict crimes before they happen.
We have technology that is geographic profiling software that can identify in a series of crimes where the anchor point for those criminals might be. We've got a lot of specifics in terms of when, where, and how those crimes occurred. And what we're finding now is we can use that data and do some forecasting so we can get out in front of crime rather than only react to it.
The machine is everywhere, watching us with 10,000 eyes.
It might seem like science fiction, but the creators of the new CBS drama, Person of Interest, call it science fact. In the series, cell phone calls, emails, and surveillance videos are fed into a database that spits out information on a future criminal or victim.
So Big Brother's here, huh?
It's here, no question.
You imagine you told yourself, 10, 15 years ago that everyone here will be walking around with something in their pocket that could contain their browsing history, their GPS location, their phone call history. They could tell the police the exact timeline of where you are at any given minute. That's a little crazy.
The show assumes the surveillance state is in place and that it isn't going anywhere. And so the next question is, well, what can you do with all that information? Can you actually change things? Can you help people?
These are Social Security numbers, and each of them map out to a violent crime.
I would call it a vigilante thriller for the surveillance age. Imagine if a guy like Bill Gates suddenly became a vigilante crime fighter.
Action.
Michael Emerson plays a billionaire software creator.
You're holding that thing sideways. You can't aim it.
Jim Caviezel, an ex-CIA assassin. They team up to stop crime before it happens.
The machine or the system that we use in the show is pretty much a twin to a machine or system that already exists.
A kind of a search engine for surveillance. It's exactly the same thing that Google does. It's just, how do you take all this sort of fire hose of information and sort through it looking for relevance? Ideally, what the government's looking for is bad guys.
The show also addresses the thorny debate between privacy rights and security.
Even criminals have some right to privacy. And how guilty are we of intentions? It's an interesting ethical gray zone.
Does this raise questions of civil liberties and profiling?
Yes. What's important in policing is how we got there, and making sure that we ensure people's civil rights at the same time that we're reducing crime. And I think using some of this technology, we'll be able to do both.
Now, from what you have seen in the lab, what do you expect?
I expect that we will be able to forecast probably 70% or so of the crime that will be happening in certain areas of the city.
I very much thought about it being sort of 15 minutes into the future. And now I would say it's really more like 5 minutes in the future, or maybe 5 minutes into the past.
Bill Whitaker, CBS News, Hollywood.